Day 23, Ionic Compounds with Roman Numerals, Part 3. Today we're going to work with ions in which there is more than one in the box, and we're going to be focused on the +2 ions today. So we're working with the +2's. Our math equation is +2 minus 1 equals 0. And so we're going to start out with good old copper again. And just like yesterday where we used copper 1, today we're going to use copper 2. Copper 2 is the ion of choice. So what we have to do is we're going to take that copper 2 ion and we're going to mix it with 2 of these chloride ions to get to 0. So we have cations, which are positively charged ions. Cations can have 1 in the box. It could have more than 1 in the box, but they are positive ions. Then we have what are called anions. Anions are negatively charged ions. And anions are like the chlorides and the bromides and the iodides, sulfide, oxides. You know where they are. Okay, so we have copper 2 with the +2, 2 of the chlorides. So we have copper 2 chloride. Should be just like old stuff. I mean, the only thing different is we are specifying this specific ion because there's more than 1 in the box. So we have nickel 2 and bromide, NiBr2, nickel 2 bromide. Cobalt with the +2, cobalt 2 chloride. Iron 2 chloride. Tin 2 chloride. So let's try this. What if I gave you V and said Cl2, and I said name this compound? Well, the first thing you would do is you would say, oh, V, that's vanadium, and vanadium has more than 1 in the box. Now, how do we know vanadium has more than 1 in the box, and how do we know that chloride is -1? We grabbed that periodic table of ions and we memorized it. We worked hard on that. So you make sure you get your periodic table of ions out. So chloride is -1, and so we have 2 of them. So we know that we have -1, -1. We have to get to 0. So what must the charge of this vanadium be? And yep, you guessed it, a +2. So how would we name this? We would call it vanadium 2 chloride. So we'd say vanadium, and it would be 2 chloride. But then you might say, hey, in that periodic table of ions that I have, vanadium, it has a +3 and vanadium has a +5. I don't see +2 on my chart. Well, that's the thing. This chart, this periodic table of ions, is not a complete chart. It's just something to help get you going. If there's more than 1 in the box, that other charges are possible. So always keep that in mind. Just because you don't see a +2 charge on that vanadium doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. And you know that it has to be named this way because what I've taught you is a very systematic way of nomenclature, as long as you follow the procedures I've shown you. Now we could also go through and say VCl2 and chloride is a -1. -1 times 2 is -2. We have to get to 0. What makes this statement true is a +2. So something, and we have 1 of these vanadium, something times 1 gives me a +2, and that means it's a +2. Vanadium 2 chloride. All right, that's how it's done. In our other equation, +2 + 2 + 2 -3 - 3 equals 0. So we pull out that copper 2 and we mix it with a nitride. We have 3 of the copper 2s, 2 of the nitrides, 3 copper 2s, 2 of the nitrides. Our formula turns into copper 2 nitride. So copper with more than 1 in the box, and we are sticking with copper as a +2. So copper 2 nitride. Nickel 2 phosphide, cobalt 2 phosphide, iron 2 nitride, and tin 2 nitride. See how this works? You just go through and you say, oh, well, SN3N2. How in the world am I going to be able to make sure that that is tin 2 nitride? You look up on the periodic table of ions, tin has more than 1 in the box. Nitride, there's two of them. Nitride is minus 3. Minus 3 times 2 is a negative 6. We have to get to 0. So something minus 6 is 0, and that something is a positive 6. So what is the charge of this 10? Something times 3 is a positive 6, and that is a plus 2. Plus 2 times 3 is this positive 6. 10, 2, nitride. That's how it's named. So now we need to go and try some on your own, do the homework. Then what you want to do is get the quiz done. And as always, if you have questions, let me know. Have a great day.